All right, next coming up is Bill Spade.
Good evening, everyone. August 28, 2001, Michael Garumba, a New York City firefighter, loses his life, 27 years old, in a fire on Staten Island. He leaves behind a 2-year-old son and a pregnant wife. I remember this really affected me at the time. 3 days later, I come home from work, September 1st, after working a 24-hour tour at the firehouse. I remember my son running to me, 6 years old, blonde hair, blue eyes, looking for what we had in store for the day. My wife, I give her a hug, and I kiss my 2-month-old child at the time. I'm in the hot rush to get dressed for the funeral, and my son doesn't understand this. I remember reaching to the darkest part of my closet for my dress uniform. Now that's a good thing. That means I haven't worn it for quite some time, usually reserved for funerals. My 6-year-old son is looking at me. I said, okay, get dressed, you can come with me. And he quickly changes and shortly appears in the doorway in his blue suit. Want to be just like that. I decided I'd take him to this funeral. It was close, it was on Staten Island. I also thought he'd see the brotherhood of the fire department and what we meant to each other. And also, if I was to get hurt, die in a line of duty, he'd see what a line of duty funeral was like. Just about 2 weeks later, September 14th, 2 a.m. in the morning, Metropolitan Hospital. I wake up in my hospital bed, full of sweat. My body's completely soaked. I haven't been able to sleep for 3 days. Thoughts going through my mind of what had happened days before. And I know I must relieve myself of this stress. I get up out of bed, I make my way to the nurse's station, and I ask the nurse for a piece of paper and a place to sit. She gives me a piece of paper, and I say, oh no, I'm going to need a tablet. And I begin writing a 2 a.m. story. I remember writing down not what happened on 9/11 first, but still recalling the Michael Garumba funeral. And then I began with the morning, 7:30 in the morning, September 11th, Rescue 5. Come into the kitchen that morning, full of life. Joey cooking French toast, Taz with the coffee cake and the bagels, fresh coffee. Had the makings of a great day. And then we got the call. Responding into the city, I remember watching the second plane hit that South Tower and thinking, how are we going to put this out? It's too much fire. Arriving on the scene, so much death and destruction already. And then beginning to operate in the North Tower. Stairway C, second floor. Always know where you're at. Working there for quite some time and making it through the first collapse. Getting caught in the stairway, but with the help of a police officer, emergency service, John DeLara, getting out of that stairway and continuing to help people out of the building. And then when it seemed like there was only 8 of us left in that North Tower, we decided it was time to leave that building. We left it about 30 seconds before it started coming down on top of us. I remember getting blown 40 feet in the air, crawling into a window, and starting to get buried. And at the time, I said goodbye to my wife, I said goodbye to my 2 boys, and it brought me back to Michael Garumba once again. I remember writing this down, and at that time in the nurse's station, I'm crying hysterically, realizing I had survived, how luckily. She asked me if I needed help. I said no. She said she can call a priest. I said no, let me get through this. And I continue writing. And I write about getting a phone call from my brother-in-law, Rescue 5, telling me that I was the only survivor from that day out of 12 of us. Then a call from my wife right after, telling me my uncle died on Flight 93. It was a bad day. I remember the last sentence I wrote, may I never ever tell this story again. Then I made 3 copies. I asked the nurse at 8 in the morning when I thought I was the only one around and the station was full of doctors and nurses. I finished 11 pages of loose leaf. I asked the nurse to make 3 copies. One for myself so I can have it, prosperity. Another for the nurses station so they can know what I've been going through. And another I'd bring to the local paper in honor of the guys from Rescue 5. They would print it, only they never didn't change one word. And then going home to my house, giving my wife a hug, maybe a little kiss. My little boy running up to me, 6 years old, jumping in my arms, and I told him my injuries will go away, they'll be okay. Not wanting to worry him. And then go into the back bedroom where my son, 2 months old, lay asleep, lifting the bar from the crib and lowering it so I can reach down and kiss him on the forehead. And I said, I'll be here for you as long as I can. Unfortunately, for the next 3 months or so, every time I opened my closet, there stood my dress uniform.